Good afternoon. This is Gail Burks Williams, and it is my pleasure to be your facilitator today for the Diversity and Inclusion webinar. It's more than just a black and white discussion. The session today has the following agenda. We're going to cover some different aspects of diversity and inclusion, and it's going to be starting off with the clear definition of diversity and inclusion, but it's only from our perspective, and we're going to be seeking out yours. Then we're going to be looking at, is it lifestyle or just a belief, which gets us into a conversation about the religious aspect of diversity. We're going to dig a little deeper and go into the unseen diversity, the LGBTQI and A conversation, as well as military personnel who are now coming back into the workplace. We want to be able to touch on disabilities, which deserve opportunities to exhibit ability in the workplace, and it's often denied. And we want to finally delve into, what do they really want? First of all, defining they, and then addressing what the request is that the group that we'll be talking about truly is looking for when it comes to workplace inclusion. And as we wrap up our discussions on diversity and inclusion, more than just a black and white discussion, we're going to be looking at good intentions gone wrong, because that has been part of this journey. And then we'll close out and deal with lessons learned, if there are any additional items that we need to discuss. So if you're ready, we're going to proceed. This webinar is for professionals in all business and industry at all levels. It's for entrepreneurs. It's for parents and family members. The information shared is universal, and it's for anyone who coexists with others on the planet. So why do we have this whole topic of diversity still coming up at the top of the list of everyone's chat session? Didn't we get the memo? I think a lot of why this is still coming up is because we've got so many new generations and immigrants that have come into the United States, that have joined the workforce, who never experienced that transformation and transition that took place when it came to America as a whole, embracing women and minorities, immigrants into the workplace that was traditionally white male. So the conversation never still goes away. The other reason I think that we're still talking about it is because you've got people, again, who have never experienced the kind of growth that is required when it comes to diversity, integration, desegregation. Our children and grandchildren will never know what it means to be separate and equal, or separate and unequal, if you will, because they've always had that integrated exposure to other cultures and people and events. It's an ongoing conversation that I don't think is ever going to end, and the memo is going to constantly be revised. Do you have a clear definition of diversity and inclusion? And what are some of your stories when it comes to doing the right thing in the conversation? Love to hear some feedback from you. Let's delve a little bit deeper and shift into this next segment on diversity and religion. Question for you. Is it a lifestyle or just a strong belief? That's a question that so many people nowadays stay away from because of what's going on in our world today. You've got religions that truly are lifestyles. And then you've got others that simply are beliefs that we incorporate into our day-to-day. So let's take it a little further and see what other conversation we can have on this. Because again, I think this is like politics. We tend to stay away from it. But now that it's coming more and more into the daily activities around the world, we really do kind of have to start addressing the conversation and educating ourselves on diversity in religion. Wow. This module segment is one that people still, I find, have an awkward time in talking about, and that is the unseen diversity. And the statement that we have on the screen for you, unless I tell you, it's not readily known, it pretty much defines these two groups that we're going to talk about in just a moment. The LGBTQIA community, as well as the community of military veterans that are now more prevalent and visible in the workplace and in society, that we now have got to address the issues that are impacting these two groups of people, populations rather, that demand and need the acceptance, support, and inclusion as other groups before them that have come along. Wow. This module is probably a biggest challenge in terms of that word they. What do they really want, and how do we define they? Good question. Good question. When it comes to that topic, as an African American, as a woman, having kids who are millennials, that's and the minorities, women, millennials, young people, they now is inclusive of everyone when it comes to the needs, wants, and desires of people who are looking to be happy in the workplace, satisfied, gratified, so that we can maximize servicing the customers with the expectations that they come to us for. And it's called starting somewhere. So let's see where our journey is going to evolve. Folks, let's not kid ourselves. It starts at the top. And not just in the executive suite or E-suite, but let's go higher. It starts in the boardroom, and then it trickles down. Because if it's on the radar for the board and it's being discussed at the board level, I happen to be a corporate board of director for 24 years. And I make it a point, or have made it a point over the years, to talk about inclusion and diversity. From the perspective of, are we building up our younger, building capacity? Now that also includes minorities and women, and getting women in the executive suite. So it starts at the top, because once you put it out there on that boardroom table, the executives know that they're going to be held accountable for feedback and follow-up to you each board meeting. It also takes ongoing training and coaching of organization leadership, because they're going to be the ones who have to implement, execute, and oversee from a daily basis.